Hey guys, welcome to the Mr. Maple Show. I'm Wesley.
And I'm Tim, and today we're bringing you our top 5 flowering plants here at the Cox Arboretum in Canton, Georgia. So get excited. We're going to talk about 5 plants that flower here at the Cox Arboretum, known for their flowers, and it's going to be some amazing top 5 plants. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and sign up for our weekly emails on MrMaple.com. We had 10 new cool trees every single Tuesday at 10 a.m., but we also add 10 new fun flowering plants every single Friday at 10 a.m. too. So if you sign up for our weekly emails, you'll get both of those. Number 5. Today we are standing right here in front of Coralopsis Piccata Golden Spring. I love this plant. Wesley, what do you like about this plant?
I honestly like it throughout the other Coralopsis. This gives you just a brilliant yellow color that the others don't.
Yeah, I know, right? Mr. Yamaguchi in Japan found this as a chance Chinese winter hazel with this yellow color. It's been known under the name of Coralopsis Piccata Ogon or Coralopsis Piccata Aria. And the leaves just put on some amazing display of that yellow in the spring, in the summer. It turns even more yellow in the fall, and it may even get some orange bronze colors across this too when this goes to its peak fall color.
And something really great about this is going to give you some really good interest into that late winter, early spring, mid to late March with the blooms that hang down. It's just absolutely beautiful in the landscape.
Yeah, one of the things about the Coralopsis is they have these blooms that just hang down in almost like a string-like fashion. And it just gives some, that's where they get the name of winter hazel, is because of that winter bloom in that late winter. You know, it's also one of those plants that's great for pollinators in that time of the season because there's not a lot else blooming in that late winter time frame. Love Coralopsis Piccata. And then I love even more Coralopsis Piccata Ogon, also known as Golden Spring. Such an amazing plant. It's gonna get about 5 to 6 feet tall, 5 to 6 foot wide in a 10-year time frame. A great specimen to be used out in the landscape. Something that can add that yellow flash of color in the landscape too. You know I love the color yellow. Amazing plant out here at the Cox Arboretum.
Number 4.
So next up we have a Styrax Japonicus. Yes, we're talking about a Japanese snowbell. Japanese snowbells are so famous because they're fragrant. They have these bells that hang down from them and have this amazing blooms that just hang down off of the branches. This particular one has a white bloom. We're talking about Styrax Japonicus Fragrant Fountain.
And this is really just an awesome tree. Very heavily pendulous and weeping. And honestly, probably one of my favorite things about it is the level of fragrance that you get from this tree.
Yeah, this one has an extreme fragrance to it. Not only does it have an extreme fragrance that you can smell from a distance when those blooms are blooming, but it also has an extreme weeping habit. This plant is a slow-growing Styrax Japonicus with an extremely cascading habit. I do recommend taking this plant and staking it at an early age to get it up to the height that you want it. And then the secondary growth that comes off this during the summer has some of the most heavily cascading branches of any of the Styraxes. The shape on this and the texture this provides out in the landscape is amazing. But then, like you talked about, the fragrance is amazing too.
Yeah.
And so this is an amazing plant. It's a selection by our good friend Crispin Silva. Many of y'all may know some of his introductions. Mystic Macawa, Sir Happy. Some amazing plants. And this is definitely one of them. Definitely one of our top plants that flower here at the Cox Arboretum. Number 3.
Hey guys, we're here next to a Osmanthus Heterophilus Hariyama.
I love this plant. I know you do too, Wesley. What do you love about this plant?
Really, my attraction to it whenever I first seen it come into the nursery was the growth habit and like the little plumes of foliage that you get. And it was like, you know what? That almost looks like a Shishi Shigira, but a totally opposite tree.
Yeah, for sure. This definitely is a really cool Osmanthus Heterophilus. If you really like Osmanthus Heterophilus, go check out our video on our top 5 Osmanthus Heterophilus, our top 5 false hollies that we have at Mr. Maple. Amazing plant. I love Hariyama. The leaves themselves are extremely spiky. And this should not surprise a lot of people because this became as a chance seedling from Sasaba, which is a very spiky selection already. But this one has even more ornamental and even more spikes on each and every single leaf. Yeah. An amazing little plant. I love this plant because it looks like little throwing stars. I mean, it looks like something, it looks like little swords out there. And they definitely have some nice pokes to them. So if you've got a kid that's trying to sneak out every night when they're not supposed to, you can always put an Osmanthus Heterophilus Hariyama underneath their window. That'll really help keep them from climbing out their window at night. But an amazing, amazing plant. The thing that's really cool about this too is they have some really fragrant blooms. So when this thing blooms in November, I mean, it has white blooms that are real close to the branches. They're extremely fragrant. I mean, so you get an amazing habit all the way around when it comes to Hariyama. Love this plant, a great tree for the landscape and garden, extremely ornamental, and a great companion plant for Japanese maples.
For sure.
Number 2.
Yeah, we're walking through here. There's so many amazing trees in fall color. This one hadn't quite hit fall color yet, but wow, what a specimen. We couldn't help but stop and showcase this rare Cornus Cusa.
Cornus Cusa Lust Garden Weeping, sometimes labeled Elizabeth Lust Garden. This is a heavily cascading, one of the most cascading Chinese dogwoods. I love the Chinese dogwoods because they are more resistant to powdery mildew and anthracnose than the Cornus Floridas. And here we've got a weeping specimen behind us.
Yeah, this beautiful tree is here in, like Tim said, Canton, Georgia. So it's handling that full heat here in the south. It's actually got a little bit of overstory here, but wow, what an amazing specimen. Again, this is that Chinese dogwood, the Cornus Cusa, one of my favorite weeping forms, Lust Garden Weeping. Here in a few weeks, this is going to be a magnificent, bright, pink-red fall color. It is a beautiful tree throughout the spring. Now, you're actually going to get some amazing flowers on this as well.
During the summer, this one has some really large white blooms to it, and it'll coat this. It'll look almost like a dress. It'll be so white. That's one of the things why people love this plant, is because you can get on these weeping branches just coated in those white blooms. A great way to do this plant is to take this plant and stake it up. That's what he's done here, where it's got some height to it and allow it to cascade down from there. That makes this plant, you know, such an amazing plant in the garden, extremely ornamental as nature, because you get blooms, you get something that can give you good fall color, and you get such a unique habit with Cornus Cusa, Elizabeth Lust Garden, or Lust Garden Weeping.
Who doesn't want a weeping dogwood? I mean, this is everything you love about the elegant dogwood, but with a weeping habit to it. It makes it look so ornamental here in the landscape. It really has such a presence here in the garden. I mean, I love the overall appeal this one gives. This one's a very mature one. It's one of the larger ones I've seen. So a gorgeous specimen of this. I can't wait to see this either in bloom or in fall color. I bet this tree just stops traffic.
Number 1.
So we're here in the Cox Arboretum. We're chasing the sunlight. It's getting dark here soon, but this Ogon Nohana just brought the brightness to the shady spot in the garden.
Our friend Ted Stevens brought this gardenia back from Japan and gave it the trademark name Golden Doubloon. So you may see it under that name as well. Ogon Nohana is the original name from Japan. Love this plant because it gives you some yellow out there in the landscape. Definitely brightens up this dark space here. It's a yellow variegated gardenia.
It's also double blooming white flowers that are extremely fragrant.
So it's got a little bit of best of both worlds. You got a fragrance, adds to that extra spot in the garden. There's not a lot of plants out there that add that extra fragrance in the ornamental garden. You've got blooms, which is amazing, double, and then you've got variegation. And then those variegation is yellow, which you know is my favorite color. It really deserves a spot in your garden. This plant will end up getting about 5 to 6 feet tall, by about 5 to 6 foot wide in 10 years. So it fits in a lot of good places in the garden and really adds a lot in almost any space you put it.
Yeah, we're here in the Cox Arboretum, famous for conifers. This one certainly adds a splash of color here in the conifer garden. It really brightens up a darker spot here in the garden and really just adds some interesting colors. Gold doubloon, really highlighter yellow, and I love that green eye to it. It really adds something interesting for variegated plants. And this is a great specimen of it too. This was a nice size one. We couldn't walk by this and not stop and talk to you about this one because, I mean, wow, look at this specimen.
I love Ogon Nohana Golden Doubloon. This is just a great plant from every aspect and just an amazing plant all around. I really hope that you try this plant out in your garden. It's a plant that can grow in zones 7B through 10. Our website lists it as an 8, but you can definitely grow it in 7B. Very hardy plant in those zones that really performs in the landscape almost every time.
Hey, if you're a pirate or a gardener, you gotta have a gold doubloon. It's every pirate's favorite gardenia. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Definitely like, subscribe, and share. That's a great way to get our channel out there. And sign up for a Fun Flower Friday and a 10 at 10 where gold doubloon may be coming to you soon.
Take care.
God bless.
And have an awesome day.
Arr!